walk down the hallway where the plaques listing the Hall of Fame inductees are listed along the Hall of Fame, and would read the names there. I would see some of my old coaches and wrestlers who'd gone before me. And that was an inspiration to me as an athlete. We have this rich tradition at McMaster of athletic excellence. And so it's really an honor to be having my name put up there on that wall as well. I can just hope that people in this generation and further generations would be encouraged to really pursue excellence in their own generation, just like how I was inspired by those who went before me. Well, you know, my days at McMaster were very formative. There are so many different aspects of that time that stand out in my mind. Obviously, wrestling is a big part of that. The CIS final, when I won the championship, the national championship, was actually my last match I ever wrestled. And to this day, I can still look back and I can remember the seconds on the clock ticking down as the match came to an end, and the referee blowing his whistle, and just feeling this immense satisfaction at achieving a goal that had been set and that I've been pursuing for a long time. That was a really special moment for me. But even beyond the competition, you know, there's also the time we spend together every day at practice and traveling to tournaments and at training camp. That with a good group of people, teammates like we had, it was really a pleasure, and there are so many fond memories of those things as well. Beating each other up in the wrestling room, wrestling hard, packing into those vans to travel down to Florida on a 24-hour drive, you know, picking up a pylon in Montreal on the way back to Hamilton, and people who were there will remember what I'm talking about. But those are special things, being able to compete alongside and train alongside just a wonderful group of teammates, friends, really. That's a highlight. I mean, I also met my wife at McMaster, so that obviously is a fond memory that I won't forget. And actually, I'll mention too, being involved with clubs on campus, like Athletes in Action and Power to Change, that really set the trajectory for my life. Well, that's another great question as well. And coming out of high school, I knew that I wanted to wrestle at university, and I thought I wanted to study software engineering. And I'd applied to a few other schools, but I was familiar with the wrestling program at Mac because I'd visited for a few winter camps, I think maybe March break camp or something like that. So I knew the coaches, and I knew the wrestling room. I knew some of the athletes. My coach, Larry Holmes, had gone to McMaster. My dad went to McMaster. I'd gone to campus in the spring a few times for the OFSA Regional track meet. And so there was a lot of things that made it familiar. Also, the engineering program had this common first year that was attractive to me and actually worked out well because I ended up choosing civil instead of software engineering. And then one of my best friends, Jeff Patterson, actually decided he wanted to go to McMaster as well. And so all those things really combined to make it a really great fit for me. And I'm so glad that I came to McMaster. It was just a really special and, like I said earlier, formative time in my life. Well, you know, I really have to say that there were so many factors that I was just the beneficiary of, that I think contributed in many ways to that success. I mean, in high school, I mentioned Larry Holmes was one of my high school coaches. He was a two-time Olympian in wrestling. I also was coached by Doug Jones, who wasn't as competitive in wrestling, but he was an Olympic coach in paddling, in water sports. And so just from the very start, I got this foundation, on the one hand, of this technical foundation of the fundamentals of the sport, and on the other hand, just the understanding of what's required mentally and in terms of the commitment to compete at the highest level. And so that was from the beginning, just being blessed with those coaches. And then coming to McMaster, I really benefited from Nick and the other coaching staff here as well. I can remember Nick would have us set goals at the beginning of the year of what we wanted to accomplish. And I can remember writing down I wanted to medal at the national championship. And I remember Nick taking me aside and he said, Dave, I think you need to aim a little higher. You need to aim higher. And he encouraged me to aspire to win the championship. And so without setting the goal, you don't hit the goals that you don't aim for. And so having Nick encourage and prod me and prod us towards excellence and towards that highest achievement certainly helped. You know, I was also blessed with just being at McMaster when there was a great team. My wrestling, certainly it's an individual sport, right? But the impact and the contribution of having wrestlers to train with it can't be overstated. And so, you know, I was wrestling with Sheldon Francis every day and butting heads with him on the mat. And, you know, he was inducted a few years ago to the Hall of Fame as well, had a very decorated career. Matt Miller and Ray Foster and Sean House and Ryan Blake, the younger guys coming up. And really my brother, Steve Rennalls, who went on to wrestle internationally as well. Having these guys pushing me in the room, and really we're pushing each other, really contributes to being able to sharpen your skills and mental focus and all these different things. And one last thing I would say, I actually went through quite a difficult season in the period before, the season before I won the championship. And I just have to say, I really benefited from drawing close to one of my coaches, Rob Betts. And he just walked with me through that time, and it was just a real pleasure. We spent a lot of time together. We'd be at training every day, and he actually would be on the mat with us as well. We'd go to Zarky's and get chocolate milk every day at Reed's Dairy, and then recover in the hot tub. And we just set this pattern of training that allowed me to focus and to progress that year in a way that I think contributed to the success that I saw at the end.